I should have known nothing good ever happens after a 12-hour ER shift. Especially not mysterious babies, werewolf neighbors, or men with voices deep enough to rearrange my spine. But there I was, standing in my doorway in fuzzy socks, when the alpha next door growled, "That's my daughter, and you smell like my mate." I laughed in his face. Then his eyes glowed gold, and suddenly, nothing about my life was funny anymore. If you believe fate has a messed up sense of humor, hit subscribe, because this is where my trouble started. I always thought the ER waiting room was the worst place in the world. Bright as interrogation lights, smelling like bleach and disappointment. People screaming, crying, or Googling their symptoms like a dare. But that night, the ER waiting room handed me a baby. Literally. I was halfway through my third cup of burnt vending machine coffee when the sliding doors burst open. A woman stumbled in, pale, shaking, clutching a bundled newborn tight against her chest. Her clothes were shredded, and she smelled like rain, iron, and something wild. I didn't know it then, but it was wolf blood. "Help," she whispered as she collapsed into my arms. We rushed her to trauma, but the damage was clear. Slash wounds, deep, brutal, like something had ripped her apart. A rogue attack, the report would later say. City PD files it under wild animal incident. Sure, because bears are known for precision murder. I pressed oxygen over her face. "Stay with me, okay? What's your name?" Her gaze flicked toward the baby instead. "Protect her." Her voice cracked like glass. "Don't let them take her." "Who?" I asked. But she coughed, blood staining the mask, and reached into the baby's blanket. She pulled out a pen with a trembling hand and grabbed my wrist. She scribbled her signature on the emergency guardian transfer form we kept for rare, desperate cases. It wasn't legally binding forever, just until the hospital could find relatives. But she still looked at me like she was sealing a destiny. "She's Nova," she whispered. "My star." Her fingers brushed the baby's cheek. Then her hand went still. Time of death, 2:17 a.m. The baby, Nova, didn't cry. She just stared at me with eyes far too aware for a newborn, irises shimmering like faint gold sparks. Most people would call that a trick of the light. Most people haven't worked the night shift in the ER. I know what off looks like, and those eyes weren't human. Still, protocol was protocol. I notified social services, PD, child protective, everyone. Hours passed. No relatives, no father, no record of the mother in any system. And I should have handed Nova over. I should have signed the form and walked away. Instead, I got rocked by something stupidly maternal and reckless. Two things I've never been allowed to be. Infertile since 24, cheated on at 28, divorced at 30, now 32, living alone in a condo with peeling paint and a haunted garbage disposal. But the moment I held her, something shifted in my chest. Like a click. Like recognition. Like the universe saying, "Surprise! New quest unlocked." By noon, CPS still had no placement. The officer looked at me over her glasses and said, "Jada, you're already listed as temporary guardian. You can foster her for 72 hours if you're willing." Willing? I was already in love with this tiny glowworm child. I signed. I took Nova home. I buckled her into the car seat like she was made of stardust. And for exactly 6 peaceful hours, I let myself believe this might be the beginning of something good. Then, at 2 a.m., because fate is petty, Nova began howling. Not crying, howling. And the alpha next door decided that was his cue to break down my peace, my front door, and apparently my entire understanding of reality. Because when he saw her, and then smelled me, his eyes flared gold. And he whispered, voice shaking like barely contained lightning. "That's my blood. And you? You're my mate." Chapter 1. If there's one thing I've learned about newborns, it's this. They don't give a single damn about your sleep schedule. Or your sanity. Or your desire to not get murdered by your supernatural neighbors. Nova started howling at exactly 2:03 a.m. At first, I thought it was normal baby crying, the high-pitched wail that makes your eardrums vibrate like cheap speakers. But this was a sound that belonged in a nature documentary narrated by David Attenborough. "Observe," I muttered, bouncing her gently. "The tiny nocturnal cryptid screaming at the moon." Nova's eyes glowed faintly gold. I blinked. She blinked. The glow disappeared. "Great," I whispered. "You're either magical or radioactive. Either way, I need caffeine." I was halfway to the kitchen when someone pounded on my front door. Not knocked, pounded. Like the police, but angrier. I froze. Because I knew that knock. That knock belonged to the reason my property value had emotional damage. Alpha Rhys Thorn. My broody, beautiful, infuriating werewolf neighbor. 5 months ago, when I moved into the condo right next to PAC-owned land, he greeted me with, "You're too close to the border," and then walked away. I replied with, "And you're too close to rude." We've been mortal enemies ever since. The pounding continued. Nova wailed louder, vibrations shivering the air. My lights flickered, which was new and deeply concerning. "Okay," I whispered, kissing her forehead. "No exploding, no glowing, no whatever that was. Mommy needs to go deal with the werewolf HOA president." I opened the door, and there he stood. Rhys Thorn, 6'4" of stormy alpha attitude, shirtless, pajama pants slung low on his hips, muscles arranged like someone printed him out of a Greek mythology art book. His eyes? Bright, angry gold. "What," I said, "in the shirtless hell do you want?" His nostrils flared. He inhaled sharply, and I swear his entire body went still. Not human still. Predator still. His gaze slid to the baby in my arms. "Where did you get her?" I blinked. "Target, aisle 3. Buy one rogue infant, get a haunted coffee mug free." His jaw ticked, clearly unamused. "Jada." My name in his voice was a growl, rough and shivery, and way too intimate for someone who hated me. "That infant is a wolf, and she has my Luna's scent." The air sucked out of the hallway. "Excuse me?" He stepped in, crowding my space, eyes locked on Nova like she was the sun rising for the first time. His hand lifted, then froze an inch from her blanket. His voice cracked. "That's my daughter." My heart did a full Olympic backflip. "Your daughter... from who?" "My Luna." He swallowed hard. "She went missing 12 days ago. No word. No trace. I thought she'd been taken." Ice crawled up my spine. My brain tried to form words. Any words. Rhys, I found Nova at the hospital. Her mother died in my arms." His face shattered. Not physically, but something in him broke. Visible even in the dim hallway light. But then something else happened. His attention snapped to me, Precisely me. And he inhaled again. This time, it wasn't anger. It wasn't suspicion. It was something raw, something electric, something that made my stomach drop into my shoes. He staggered back a step, gripping the doorframe like gravity betrayed him. You, he rasped, smell like gods. His pupils blew wide, gold swallowing the black. You smell like my mate. I laughed, a sharp, unhinged sound. Nope, nope, return to sender. Try the house across the street. She does yoga and eats kale. Very mate-worthy. But Rhys didn't move. His wolf was right there behind his eyes, pushing, straining, desperate. Nova whimpered. The lights flickered again. His gaze dropped to her, then back to me. We need to talk, he said quietly, reverently, terrifyingly. And because fate hates me, Nova reached one tiny hand toward him, and the whole hallway buzzed with a pulse of invisible static. Rhys looked at me like I had just rewritten his entire universe. I looked at him like he was one concussion away from being tackled. And the baby between us? She just gurgled like this wasn't the single most insane moment of my entire existence. Chapter 2. If there was a scale for bad decisions, standing in my doorway at 2-something in the morning while a half-dressed alpha declared I smelled like his cosmic soulmate would rank somewhere between texting your ex and licking a frozen pole. I tightened my grip on Nova. Okay, Wolfman, let's slow down. You barged over here because my baby cried too loud. You sniffed the air like a bloodhound with drama issues. Now you're claiming I'm your mate. That's not even a sentence a normal person should survive. Rhys blinked once. Slow, intense. I am not normal. Understatement of the year. My wolf recognizes you. And the child. Cool, I said, backing up. Tell your wolf to recognize personal space. He did not move. His gaze dropped to the bundle in my arms, then softened, visibly, painfully. Let me see her. His voice dropped to something hoarse, something stripped bare. I hesitated. Not because I thought he'd hurt her. No. This man looked like he'd throw himself in front of a train if it protected the tiny bean currently drooling on my shoulder. I hesitated because he was too close, too intense, too everything. But Nova squirmed and made a soft, chirpy sound I'd never heard a baby make in my life. It was like a wolf pup's attempt at a yip. I sighed and held her out, cautiously, like handing a grenade to a kindergarten student. Rhys took her into his arms with the gentlest, most reverent touch I'd ever seen. 6'4", built like a nightmare, terrifying alpha, and the man held her like she was made of stardust. His breath hitched. Stars, he whispered, eyes wet. She looks exactly like Alara. Alara, his Luna, the mother who died in my arms. A pinch of guilt stabbed me. None of this was fair. Not to Nova, not to Rhys, not to the widow he still was. She's healthy, I said softly. 8 pounds. Good lungs, obviously. She snuggles when I sing. Hates bats. And she smells like lavender baby lotion because I spilled half the bottle trying to open it one-handed. His lips twitched, the closest thing to a smile I've ever seen him manage. You're good with her. Yeah, well, I muttered, crossing my arms. I'm good with chaos. My entire life is built on it. Then he said the sentence that detonated my sanity. She's mine. And so are you. I choked. Sir, I assure you, I am no one's. You smell like my mate. You keep saying that like it's a normal thing to tell your neighbor at 2 a.m. Rhys exhaled slowly. Jada, listen, no, absolutely not. I am exhausted, confused, and I slept 2 hours last night because Nova has a personal vendetta against peace. I'm not equipped for mystical, nose-based dating. He closed his eyes, steadying himself. For a second, I thought he might actually shift right there in my doorway. But he didn't. He wrestled his wolf back with visible effort. We need to talk, he said again. Inside. Please. I blinked. He said please. Either he was desperate or the world was ending. Could go either way. Fine, I sighed, stepping aside. But shoes stay off the rug. I just vacuumed. He gave me a look, a confused, I'm an apex predator, why does she care about vacuuming look, but obeyed. He stepped inside, carrying Nova like he'd been born knowing exactly how to. I flicked on the living room lamp. Rhys sat carefully on the couch, his muscles still tense, like he was waiting for me to bolt. Tell me what you know, he said quietly, eyes fixed on Nova. I told him everything. The rogue attack, the mother's dying words, the emergency guardian form, how Nova never cried until the moon moved, how her eyes sometimes glowed, faint and impossible. He listened without interrupting, jaw clenching tighter with every detail. When I finished, he breathed out, long and pained. She was hiding, he murmured. I didn't know why. She left without explanation, took our unborn child with her, and vanished before the moon summit. His voice cracked. I searched everywhere. I swallowed hard. Rhys? She wasn't alone when she died. His head snapped up. Who? A man. Or something like one. He wasn't alive when they found them, but the wounds were different. Not rogue, not animal-like. I took a breath. And when I held Nova the first time, something felt wrong. Or right. I don't know. Like static. Rhys froze. Static? Yes. That's mate recognition energy, he said slowly. Your dormant wolf reacting to mine. My stomach dropped. My dormant what now? Okay, I said, hands up. Plot twist. I'm a human, like aggressively human. My bones crack when I stand up too fast. He didn't argue. He just stared at me, like he'd uncovered a buried secret. There's more going on, he whispered. With her, with you, and with whoever killed Alara. He lifted his gaze, eyes glowing softly. Jada, this isn't just custody. This is fate. Chapter 3. In the movies, life-changing conversations happen in beautiful places. Sunsets, beaches, candlelit restaurants. In my life, they apparently happen in my living room at 2:30 in the morning, where a wolf alpha sits on my couch holding a baby while I stand nearby in pajama pants with a coffee stain shaped like South America. So, I said, rubbing my temples. Let me summarize. You want your daughter, I am the legal foster guardian, and you think I'm your mate. Rhys didn't blink. Correct. And your plan, I continued, was what? Intimidate me into joint custody? His nostrils flared. I don't intimidate you. You say that, I said, waving a hand at his entire existence, but you're built like a gladiator who got cursed to attend suburban HOA meetings. He scowled, clearly offended. Nova made a tiny, wolfy hiccup noise in his arms. Rhys softened immediately, which was its own jump scare. He stroked her hair. She needs packed protection. She can't grow up outside. She's alpha-born. His voice dipped. She's everything. Something in my chest squeezed. I sat down across from him, hands clasped between my knees. I get that. I do. But legally? She's mine for now. And letting a man I barely know take her into the woods is not on my bucket list. I'm not taking her. His eyes lifted to mine. Intense, molten, unsettling. I'm asking you to come with her. Silence. Not the comfortable kind. The, did this man just say what I think he said? Kind. Come with her, I repeated slowly. As in, pack territory? That place with the trespassers will be eaten sign? It's exaggerated. It has a paw print in blood. Paint, he muttered. Sure, and I'm the Queen of England. He shifted forward, arms tightening protectively around Nova. If you move into the border cottages, you'll keep legal guardianship while we investigate. You'll both be safe, and my pack will respect your role. My role, I repeated. Which is? His eyes flashed. Nova's mother. Oh, no. Absolutely not. I stood so fast, my knee cracked. I am not pretending to be your Luna, I snapped. I don't even pretend to like kale. I am not cut out for wolf politics, wolf drama, or wolf PTA meetings. You wouldn't pretend, he murmured. My wolf already— Nope! No more nose prophecies. I pointed at him. I have enough problems. I'm a nurse. My life is already a rotating nightmare. The last thing I need is to move into werewolf suburbia and accidentally become stepmom to a pack of hormonal shifters. You won't be, he said softly. It's just temporary. Define temporary. Until we determine if she's safer with me or with you. Ouch. That one hit somewhere deep and bruised. He must have seen it because his expression softened. You've done nothing wrong, Jada. You've done more for her in 2 days than most wolves do for their own pups. His jaw flexed. But you're human. Or you think you are. And someone killed her mother for a reason. I swallowed. Hard. The fear I'd been ignoring curled cold around my spine. Who? I whispered. I don't know. His voice dropped. But if they went after Alara, they may come for Nova next. And there it was. The truth I'd been avoiding since the ER. The danger wasn't over. I sank back into my chair, shaking. So you're saying I'm in danger too? He hesitated only a second. Yes. Great. Fantastic. Just what I needed. A bonus threat to my life. 10 out of 10 experience. What about human authorities? I asked. Witness protection? Something normal? His laugh was humorless. The last thing you want is human government getting involved with a half-shifter infant who can already sense moon cycles. Okay, fair. I stared at the baby, her tiny fingers curling around the fabric of his shirt, her little chest rising and falling so peacefully. If someone was hunting her, if she wasn't safe out here on my property, my gut twisted. My instincts roared. Mine. I exhaled sharply. If, and this is a big if, I agree, what exactly happens? Rhys straightened, like he'd been waiting for this moment. You'll move into the cottage 2 doors down from mine. My pack will recognize you as Nova's guardian. You'll have security, support, and you'll remain free. You're not joining the pack. Not unless you choose to. Good, I muttered, because I'm not signing up for full moon aerobics. He almost smiled. Almost. And, he added, voice tightening. I will honor the hospital paperwork. I will not take her from you. I blinked. He meant it. Every word. And you? I asked quietly. What's your role in this temporary wolf housing arrangement? He held Nova closer, eyes burning gold. I'm her father, he said. And whether you accept it or not, my wolf already considers you ours. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. Rhys, I don't know if I can do this. You can, he murmured, because you already have. Nova shifted against his chest. His big hand cupped her back gently, protectively. I felt something in my ribcage crack open, something soft, something terrifying. Fine, I breathed. I'll move. His breath caught. Not a dramatic gasp, something quieter. Relief, gratitude, awe. Jada, he whispered, standing slowly, Nova cradled to his chest. This will protect her. Then, softer. And it will protect you. I didn't know what to do with the warmth blooming uninvited in my chest. But I knew this. Whatever fate had planned for me, it was coming fast. And now, I was stepping onto Packland with a baby who glowed, and an alpha who looked at me like I was the beginning of every prophecy he ever feared. Chapter 4. Moving into Pack territory was not a glamorous event. There were no trumpets, no ceremonial welcome, no enchanted fireworks spelling, "Congrats, Jada," in the sky. No. My welcome wagon was a giant wolf. A literal giant wolf. He was sitting in front of the cottage like a fluffy, judgmental boulder when I pulled up in my sadly dented Honda. He stared at me. I stared back, clutching Nova's car seat like a talisman. Oh, cool, I muttered. A security system with teeth. The wolf huffed. Not a growl, more like, yes, human, I see you're pathetic. Proceed anyway. I lifted Nova's seat from the car. She kicked her legs, giggling at the massive creature like he was the world's best stuffed toy. Don't encourage him, I warned her. He looks like he files complaints for fun. The cottage was cute, cozy, and probably haunted, like most cottages in the woods. Pale moonlight filtered through tall pines. The air smelled like moss, rain, and danger. Rhys appeared from behind the cottage, as silent as a ghost with better abs. He wore a fitted black t-shirt and jeans, dark hair tousled, eyes glowing faintly gold in the dim light. My heart tried to do a tango with my lungs. I ignored it. You made good time, he said. I only hit one raccoon, and he glared at me like it was my fault. Rhys blinked. Did you apologize? Yes, it felt appropriate. Another blink. You're strange. Thanks, I said dryly. It's my charm. He stepped closer, eyes flicking to Nova. She squealed happily. Rhys's entire demeanor softened instantly. May I? He asked. I appreciated that he asked. He didn't assume. I handed her over, watching as his strong arms folded her securely against his chest. He kissed the top of her head with such tenderness that I had to look away, stomach doing that annoying fluttery thing. She likes it here, he murmured, listening to Nova's cooing. She feels safer. Wolves feel the land. Even infants. That's actually really sweet, I admitted. Pack is safety, he said simply. She senses that. She senses us. Us? I echoed, raising a brow. There is no us. There is you, there is me, and there is the baby who currently thinks your nose is a teething toy. He sighed like I exhausted him on a spiritual level. I wasn't talking about romance. Good, I blurted, because I barely trust you. Also, you threatened to call animal control on me last month for leaving sunflower seeds out. To be fair, you attracted raccoons. Again. Okay, true. He almost smiled, which felt illegal. Then the front door of the cottage opened. A woman in her 50s, sharp bun, sharper eyes, stepped out with a clipboard. A friggin' clipboard. Perfect. My first pack encounter was with shifter Dolores Umbridge. Alpha, she said with a stiff nod. Her eyes slid to me like I was trash on her lawn. So, the human has arrived. Oh boy, I muttered under my breath. Racism with fur. Rhys growled, like actually growled. The woman stiffened. I only meant you meant nothing. Rhys cut sharply. Jada is Nova's guardian. Treat her like you would any pack mother. The woman blinked rapidly, offended, shocked, possibly short-circuiting. Then she forced a tight smile. Of course, Alpha. Welcome, Jada. Yes, I chirped. I'm thrilled to be here. Can't wait for the first bake sale. She scurried off. The giant wolf followed her as if to make sure she didn't say anything treasonous on the way. Sorry about her, Rhys said. That's okay. She reminds me of my aunt, but with fewer tax evasion tendencies. He stared. Your family sounds complicated. You have no idea. I walked inside the cottage. It was beautiful. Warm wooden floors, stone fireplace, cozy lighting, and a faint scent of pine. Simple, safe, and far nicer than my old condo. Rhys followed, putting Nova in the bassinet his pack had apparently assembled in under 3 hours. How did you get furniture here? I asked. Wolves, he said. Right. He cleared his throat. There are rules for living here. Oh, I figured. Let me guess. No summoning demons after 10 p.m.? No wandering at night alone, he corrected. No crossing deeper into the woods. No inviting strangers in. If you leave the territory, tell me or my second. If anything feels wrong, call me immediately. That's not rules, I said. That's a horror movie disclaimer. His jaw tightened. This isn't paranoia. Alara was hiding for a reason. Someone wanted my daughter dead. Maybe both daughters. I froze. Both? His eyes locked on mine. Jada, he said quietly, my wolf recognizes you. That means your bloodline is shifter, dormant, unawakened. Someone might have wanted that destroyed too. My heart lurched. Rhys, that's impossible. I'm human. My whole family has secrets. He interrupted gently. All wolf lines do. I swallowed hard. This wasn't just co-parenting. This wasn't just temporary. This was bigger, dangerous, connected. He stepped closer, voice low. I will protect you, and her, with everything I have. His sincerity was terrifying. He meant it, every word. And as Nova slept peacefully between us, glowing faintly under the moonlight, I realized something horrifying. I might already be in too deep. Chapter 5. If anyone had told me I'd spend my Sunday morning attending a Wolfpack community meeting, essentially PTA with fangs, I would have assumed I'd finally succumbed to sleep deprivation. But there I was, standing in a rustic lodge the pack used for gatherings, holding a baby bottle, wearing jeans that definitely did not match my Luna-adjacent status. Pack mothers stared at me like I'd shown up to church wearing devil horns. Rhys stood beside me, tall, sharp, intimidating, radiating possessive alpha energy that said, "Look at her wrong and I'll rip your face off." Helpful, but also mildly embarrassing. "Ignore them," he murmured without looking at me. "Oh yes," I whispered back. "Let me just turn on the invisibility I keep in my pocket." He almost smirked. Almost. A woman with beachy blonde hair and Lululemon everything approached, smiling too wide. "Hi," she said brightly, like a shark greeting a minnow. "You must be the human." "The human," I echoed. Wow, my parents didn't even give me a nickname that good. Her smile faltered. "I'm Kendra. I run the pup circles, and just so you know, humans usually don't participate, but since you're temporarily involved..." Temporarily. Cute. I resisted the urge to bare my non-existent fangs. Nova cooed in my arms, a soft little chirp that immediately drew every eye. Kendra gasped. "Ooh, she has Rhys's eyes." "Yes," I said, forcing a smile. "I noticed when he broke into my house at 2 a.m. Rhys choked on air. Kendra's smile cracked. "Alpha," she said sweetly, "maybe you should clarify to everyone how long she's staying, so nobody gets confused." I felt that jab. Sharp, deliberate. Rhys turned fully toward her, his posture shifting from neutral to "Alpha, don't test me." "She's staying as long as necessary," he said. "Jada is Nova's guardian. That will be respected." Every mother in the room froze simultaneously, like they'd collectively pressed pause. Kendra's eye twitched. "But surely Nova belongs with a wolf mother." "She belongs with the mother who's protecting her," Rhys cut. The room went silent. Warmth bloomed under my ribs. Not romantic, not yet. Just validation. And maybe a little awe that the big, terrifying alpha next door had just verbally body-slammed the pack PTA on my behalf. Nova picked that moment to hiccup. A small flash of golden light sparked around her. The mothers screamed, like actual shrieks. "What was that?" Kendra gasped. "Wow, calm down," I said. "It's baby magic. Every newborn has it." "No," Rhys said quietly. "They don't." I blinked. "Oh." Nova giggled, and the light fixtures above us flickered. Kendra backed away like I'd brought a tiny nuclear weapon. "She's not fully wolf," Rhys murmured, eyes narrowing. "Her magic's chaotic, untrained." My stomach twisted. "Is she okay?" He studied Nova's aura, something wolves apparently could sense, and nodded slowly. "She's stable, but she might have inherited more than wolf blood." "From who?" Rhys didn't answer, because he didn't know. And neither did I. Great. Perfect. Love raising a baby whose magical outbursts would make her a finalist on America's Got Powers. Before I could spiral further, a young woman with short curly hair approached us. Softer eyes, warmer smile. "Hi," she said shyly. "I'm Mira. I do the youth training, and I just wanted to say, your baby is adorable, and I'm really glad she has someone kind." Someone kind. Not someone wolf enough. Not someone worthy of a pack. Just kind. It was the first non-hostile interaction I'd had here. I smiled back. "Thanks. I'm doing my best." "I can tell," Mira said. She glanced at Rhys. "Alpha, should we set guidelines for Nova's magic?" He sighed. "Yes. We'll need a protective charm around the cottage. And Jada needs shielding lessons." "Shielding?" I repeated. "Like magic shields? Wizard shields?" Mira laughed. "More like grounding your energy. Wolves have internal defenses." Rhys looked at me intently. "If your wolf is dormant, You still have those defenses. They may activate soon. My pulse stuttered. I don't have a wolf. You do, he said softly. You just don't feel her yet. Heat rose in my throat, a mix of fear, denial, and something else, something calling. Before I could respond, a deep vibration rippled through the lodge, like someone plucked a harp string made of thunder. Rhys stiffened. Mira gasped. Every wolf went silent. The giant wolf from earlier, the guard, barreled inside. Alpha, Mira whispered. It's the perimeter. Someone crossed the boundary. Someone strong. Nova whimpered. Then a pulse of shimmering light burst from her blanket. Rhys caught her instinctively, growling low. Everyone out, he ordered. Now. The lodge emptied fast. I stood frozen. Rhys turned to me, eyes bright gold, wolf rising beneath his skin. Jada, he said, voice low, urgent. Stay close. Don't leave my side. The cottage, the pack, the magic, the perimeter breach, everything felt connected. And suddenly, the question burned in my mind. Who had come looking for Nova? And what did they want with us? Chapter 6. If you ever want to know true panic, stand in a room full of werewolves when all of them freeze at the same time. It's like watching the cast of National Geographic Murder Edition suddenly tune their ears to the same deadly frequency. Rhys was already shifting his stance, not into a wolf, but into that terrifying, hyper-focused alpha mode where his eyes glowed like molten coins. Stay behind me, he said, voice already vibrating with wolf dominance. I obeyed, not because he told me to, because the air itself seemed to tremble. Nova sensed it too. She wasn't crying. No, that would have been normal. Instead, her pupils widened until they were full gold, glowing softly like little lanterns. A soft crackle of energy fizzed around her fingers. Nova, sweetheart, I whispered, clutching her tighter. Now's not the time to go full Tinkerbell. Rhys stepped closer, one hand hovering near my waist, not touching, but ready, like he wanted to shield me without overstepping. We're going home, he murmured. The lodge isn't secure. Define home, I whispered. Your cottage, he said. Mine if necessary. Both are reinforced. Oh, great. Reinforced, like, against bears? No, he said, eyes scanning the tree line through the open doorway. Against wolves. Just what I wanted to hear before bedtime. That and a bedtime story titled, Guess Who's Coming to Murder You? The giant wolf guard, whose name I still didn't know, so I mentally called him Security Fluffy, growled low. Rhys listened, nodding once. West border, he translated. Someone crossed the line and kept going. Someone? I echoed. As in singular? As in bold and suicidal? Rhys didn't answer, which meant yes. He grabbed my arm, gentle but firm. Move. We slipped out of the lodge, flanked by 2 wolves and one very anxious human nurse holding a glowing baby like she was packing a magical grenade. The path back to my cottage was lit by tall lantern posts, their light flickering every few seconds, like the world couldn't decide if it wanted to stay normal. Rhys, I whispered, is this the normal Tuesday night stuff you deal with? No, he said, which was deeply comforting. Someone crossed the boundary because they knew Nova was here. And because of me, I realized. He didn't deny it. His jaw just flexed like he hated that fact. We reached the cottage. Rhys pushed the door open, ushered us inside, and locked it with a heavy metal bolt that definitely wasn't there before. Then another bolt, and another. Did you add extra locks? I asked. Yes. Today? Yes. You stress shopped for locks. He gave me a deadpan stare. I stress-secured my mate and child. I opened my mouth to argue. Nothing came out. Because Nova suddenly lifted her tiny hand, and every lamp in the room flickered. "Oh, come on," I groaned. "Magical babies shouldn't have electrical privileges." Rhys stepped up beside me, placing a steadying hand on my lower back. Warm, strong, way too comforting. "Her power is reacting to the threat," he murmured. "She's sensing it." Sensing what? Who? His golden eyes locked onto mine. "I think whoever killed Alara is close." My stomach bottomed out. My hands tightened on Nova. My voice felt like sandpaper. "How close?" Rhys inhaled sharply, head snapping toward the window. "Too close." A loud thud hit the side of the cottage. I jumped so violently, I nearly dropped Nova. Rhys was already moving, grabbing me around the waist and pulling me back from the window as shadows passed beyond the glass. Security Fluffy growled outside, feral, angry, protective. Rhys's wolf rose under his skin, claws threatening, eyes glowing, breath coming out in harsh, controlled bursts. "Rhys?" I whispered. "Stay behind me. Don't move. Don't speak. Don't—" A loud scraping noise cut him off. Something, or someone, dragged claws along the wall. Nova whimpered. Light flared around her, a bright pulse of gold that illuminated the entire room. The intrusion stopped instantly. Silence. Heavy. Electric. Waiting. Rhys's voice dropped to a whisper, reverent and terrified at the same time. She responded to the threat. She pushed it back. I stared at Nova, tiny, innocent, glowing like she swallowed a star. "Rhys, what is she?" He turned to me slowly, eyes glowing with something equal parts awe and dread. "She's an alpha heir," he whispered, "but she inherited something more. Something ancient." The scraping outside returned, softer now. But that wasn't the part that chilled me. The part that chilled me was the voice. Low, breathy, too close to the window. "Found you," Rhys snarled. Full wolf, full rage, full over my dead body energy. He shoved me behind him. "Jada," he said, urgent, raw, desperate. "Get ready. This is not over." And I realized in that moment, moving to the pack wasn't the dangerous part. The dangerous part was that someone was hunting us. And they were already here. Chapter 7. There are moments in life when your brain stops working. When logic packs a suitcase and leaves your body to fend for itself. Hearing someone whisper, "Found you," outside my window at 3 a.m. while I held a glowing infant? Yeah, that was one of those moments. Rhys shifted his weight, placing his massive frame between me and the window. His posture screamed apex predator about to ruin somebody's day. Security Fluffy snarled outside, loud, vicious, unrestrained. But the voice outside wasn't scared. It laughed, soft and rasping, familiar in the way nightmares are familiar. "Rhys," I whispered, clutching Nova tight. "What is that?" "I don't know," he growled. "But it isn't Wolf." The scraping continued, claws dragging down the cottage siding like someone carving their name into our fear. Nova's eyes glowed brighter. My breath shortened. Electricity hummed in the room. Rhys placed a steadying hand on my arm, the slightest contact that sent a lightning bolt of warmth through my chest. "Jada," he murmured, "listen to me. No matter what happens, you don't run. You stay right behind me. Understand?" I nodded, mostly because my voice had filed a restraining order. Rhys moved toward the window. The scraping stopped. Silence. Heavy. Waiting. Rhys reached for the curtain. The window exploded inward. Glass shattered. Cold wind roared in. Shadows surged through the opening like smoke made of teeth and intention. I screamed. Rhys shifted. Not fully wolf, not fully man. Something monstrous, half-shifted, claws stretching, eyes blazing gold. He slammed into the shadow creature, knocking it backward into the night. Security Fluffy lunged, fangs flashing. Nova burst into bright gold light, a pulse so strong it shook the lamps and rattled the floorboards. I stumbled back, shielding her with my body. "Jada!" Rhys roared. "Stay inside!" He didn't need to tell me twice. My survival instincts were fully online and screaming, "Nope, nope, nope." The creature outside hissed, a horrible, wet, echoing sound. Rhys struck again, claws ripping through the shadow, but the thing didn't bleed, didn't scream, didn't move like anything alive. It reformed, a swirling shape with the vague outline of a man, and eyes like black fire. "Rhys," I whispered shakily. "It's not dying." "Then I'll tear it apart," he snarled. The creature lunged. Rhys met it head-on, slamming it into the dirt with inhuman strength. Security Fluffy tore into it too, but their jaws passed through like smoke. It didn't fight like a wolf. It moved like it was looking for something. No, someone. The shadow turned its head toward me and Nova, those black fire eyes locking onto us. "Nope!" I yelped, stumbling backward. "No visitor access! No thank you!" Nova whimpered. Then her tiny hand flickered with golden sparks. The shadow paused and spoke. Not with words, but with a broken, layered whisper that made my bones go cold. "Blood of the Luna. Blood of the lost line. Give her to me." I felt sick. Rhys snapped. He lunged with a fury I'd never seen, ripping, striking, roaring. The creature swirled around him, slipping through attacks, reforming like ink in water. But when it drifted toward me again, Nova screamed. Not like a baby, like something older, something powerful, something that demanded the world listen. And the golden light from her little hand exploded outward in a burst. It hit the shadow creature like a tidal wave. The thing recoiled, shrieking, its shape twisting, unraveling, dissolving like smoke burned away by sunlight. Then, nothing. Gone. Silence slammed down. Rhys stood panting, chest heaving, half-shifted skin glowing with strain. Security Fluffy paced, ears pinned, still snarling just in case round 2 appeared. I sank to the floor, clutching Nova to my chest. Her glow faded. Her breathing steadied. Her eyes blinked up at me. Normal. Innocent. Soft. Rhys was beside me in 3 strides, crouching low, hands trembling faintly. "Are you hurt?" he demanded, scanning me like he expected missing limbs. "No," I whispered. I think I'm okay." He cupped my face with a gentleness that nearly broke me. "Jada." His voice cracked. "I thought I lost you." My breath hitched. Too intimate. Too real. Too fast. I didn't pull away. I'm here," I murmured. Nova yawned, a tiny, adorable sound that felt wildly inappropriate after a supernatural home invasion. Rhys watched her with awe and fear. "She protected us," he whispered. "Yes," I breathed. "She did." and she exposed herself doing it. My stomach tightened, which means whoever, whatever, that was, Rhys finished for me. They'll come back. I swallowed hard. Rhys, what do we do? He stood slowly, lifting Nova from my arms, holding her with fierce, trembling tenderness. We prepare, he said. We find out who's hunting her. His eyes met mine, gold, burning, determined. And we awaken your wolf. There's a moment after trauma where your brain goes quiet. Not peaceful quiet, more like the, did that really just happen, or am I clinically hallucinating quiet? That was me the morning after our cottage got shadow jump-scared. Rhys didn't leave all night. He paced the floors like a caged storm, while Nova slept pressed against my chest, tiny fingers curled into my shirt, like she knew the world outside had teeth. When the sun rose, it didn't make anything feel safer. Rhys stood by the window, arms crossed, still half-dressed in torn clothes from the fight, hair wild, eyes shadowed. He looked lethal and exhausted. And something else, something like guilt twisting beneath the surface. Jada, he said quietly, we need to talk. I groaned. If this is the I told you to move in and look what happened talk, I'd like to preemptively request a snack. He blinked. What? That's how these traumatic conversations go, I explained. Snacks, tears, and life-changing information. He stared at me for a moment, somewhere between confused and reluctantly amused. Then the amusement faded, completely. This creature, he said, voice low, wasn't rogue, wasn't pack. It wasn't even flesh. It was summoned. I straightened. Summoned by who? A witch, or a coven, or someone with magic strong enough to bend shadows. I swallowed. Why us? His gaze dropped to Nova in my arms, now awake and blinking sweetly. Because of her lineage, he murmured. She's yours, I said softly. That part makes sense. But me? Why am I involved? Rhys walked toward me, slow, measured, like he was afraid I'd bolt. You're not human, Jada. I froze. Try again, I said, forcing a laugh. Because I'm extremely human. I take vitamins and get pap smears and everything. His jaw clenched. Your grandmother was a Thornwood wolf. She disappeared before your mother was born. I blinked. My heart stuttered painfully. My grandmother died before I was born. No, Rhys said gently. She ran. Silence. He knelt in front of me, eyes softening. When Alara's bag was recovered after the attack, the evidence team found a key. It opened a locker at the city hospital. Inside was her personal flash drive and your grandmother's identification necklace. My entire body went numb. Why would Alara have that? Because she was trying to find you. A punch to the gut. A punch that kept punching. Why me? I whispered. Why my family? Because the Thornwood curse runs through your bloodline, he said. Curse? My voice cracked. Excuse me? Rhys exhaled. Your family's wolf line was suppressed generations ago. Sealed, dormant, hidden so deeply you wouldn't feel it. No shifting, no strength, no instinct. Nothing. I blinked hard, heart slamming against my ribs. You're telling me I'm a wolf and nobody told me? Technically, he said, you're a suppressed wolf. The curse blocks the shift. It blocks power. But the wolf is still there, I laughed again, but it wasn't funny. It was bordering on hysterical. And when were you planning to share this little Ancestry.com bombshell? When you were ready. I'm not ready now. I know. He touched my arm gently. And I'm sorry. His sincerity made my throat tighten. I looked down at Nova, tiny, warm, impossibly magical. She reached up and touched my chin with her small hand. A spark, warm, golden, flickered under her fingertips. See? Rhys murmured. She recognizes your wolf, even if you don't. I stared at the faint glow on my skin, and I felt something. A pulse, a warmth, a stir, deep inside me, like something yawning after 1,000-year sleep. I gasped, clutching the couch. What was that? Your wolf, Rhys said softly. She's waking. No, I whispered. No, she can't be. That's impossible. He shook his head. Not impossible. Nova's magic triggered it. Oof, I muttered. I always thought my first magical experience would involve, like, sparkles and a wand, not a demon shadow trying to kidnap us. Rhys gave a strained huff. I wish it were sparkles. He stood, pacing. To awaken fully, you'll need help, guidance, someone who knows how to break or soften curses. Like who? I asked. My sister, he said reluctantly. Lyra. Why do you sound like you'd rather chew glass than talk to her? Because she's blunt and chaotic, and she thinks curses are fun puzzles. Oh, great, a magical cryptic Sudoku tutor. He rubbed his face. She'll know what to do. Okay, I said, breath shaky. When do we meet her? Rhys met my gaze, steady, intense. Tonight. My stomach flipped. Tonight? Already? Shouldn't we sleep or eat or do 12 hours of deep breathing before meeting the woman who can unseal my wolf? We don't have time, he said softly. Last night proved they're tracking Nova. And they sensed something in you, too. His eyes softened. Your wolf is waking for a reason. We need her awake. We need her strong. And what do you need? I asked. He swallowed hard. You, he whispered. I need you safe. Something hot and terrifying flickered between us. I looked away quickly, because if I didn't, I might lean in. Fine, I said, clearing my throat. We'll meet Lyra, but if she tries to sacrifice a chicken or chant in Latin, I'm leaving. He actually smiled. A real one. No chickens, no Latin, just magic. Oh, good, I deadpanned. My favorite. Nova giggled, and the lights flickered again. Wonderful. Tonight, I would meet the only shifter who could unseal my wolf. And the creature that hunted us was probably watching. No pressure. Chapter 9. If someone had told me 3 days ago that I'd be sitting in a supernatural evidence room reviewing the contents of a dead Luna's hospital bag, I would have requested immediate sedation. But there I was, inside the PAC's underground archive bunker. Yes, they had one. Feeling like Nancy Drew in a horror movie adaptation. The walls were lined with metal drawers and reinforced glass cabinets. Everything smelled like sterile, cold old paper and secrets. Rhys stood beside me, tense, arms crossed, as if bracing for impact. Nova was strapped to my chest in a baby carrier, because leaving her anywhere was now a non-negotiable no. She kept smacking my chin with her tiny fist, like she was trying to hype me up. Okay, I murmured, patting her hand. I get it. You're brave, but Mommy is terrified and also mildly nauseated. Rhys cleared his throat. Jada, we can stop if you're overwhelmed. I'm always overwhelmed, I said. It's my core personality trait. He didn't smile. He was too focused on the metal evidence box in front of us. A small silver tag read, Alara Thornwood, Personal Effects. My stomach twisted. I had held this woman as she died. I had promised to protect her child. Now, I was about to open the last pieces of her world. Whenever you're ready, Rhys murmured, voice soft enough to bruise me. I swallowed hard and lifted the lid. Inside was a torn sweater, a baby blanket embroidered with stars, a cracked phone, a flash drive on a silver chain, an old leather-bound journal, and a thin necklace with a small wolf pendant engraved with initials. E.F. E.F.? I whispered. That's not her initial. Rhys hesitated. No, those are your grandmother's. My breath caught. My grandmother? Elora Flynn? He nodded slowly. This was hers. My world tilted. Why did Alara have my grandmother's necklace? My voice wavered. How did she even find it? Rhys handed me the flash drive. We think the answers are on here. I stared at the simple metal device like it was going to bite me. Okay, I whispered. Let's see what she wanted us to know. We plugged it into the small laptop on the evidence desk. A folder opened. 7 video files, all time-stamped during her last months alive. Rhys's jaw tightened. She never told me she recorded these. I glanced at him. Are you sure you want to watch this with me? I need to, he murmured. She's still my Luna. The first video loaded. Alara appeared on the screen, pale, exhausted, dark hair tangled, eyes haunted but determined. She filmed herself in a dim motel room. Rhys, she whispered, if you're watching this, I'm gone. Rhys stiffened. I didn't leave because I didn't love you, she continued. I left because they came for me, for the baby, and because, she inhaled shakily, because I found something in the old records, something about the Thornwood curse, something I wasn't supposed to know. I felt cold all over. Alara held up the necklace, my grandmother's. This belonged to Elora Flynn, she said. She was a Thornwood wolf. She loved a human man, Jada's grandfather, and the elders punished her. They suppressed her entire bloodline, but, Rhys, she wasn't just any wolf. She was one of the last fire wolves. Rhys sucked in a sharp breath. I stiffened. Firewolf. Firewolves carry magic tied to life, Alara whispered. To healing, to truth. They see through illusions. They burn curses away. And I think Jada's mother inherited a fragment of it, which means Jada might have it too. She swallowed hard, glancing at the camera like she was expecting someone to burst through the door. The Thornwood elders covered it up. They erased every trace. They suppressed the line. They sealed Jada's wolf before birth. But Nova? She's your heir and a descendant of the fire line. Alara's eyes filled. That's why they want her. Because an alpha heir with firewolf power could break every pack curse in this region, including the one hiding the creature that's been hunting us. Rhys's breath hitched audibly. Alara leaned closer to the camera. Rhys, trust Jada. She doesn't know what she is, but she is the only one who can protect Nova if I fail. I covered my mouth, tears blurring my vision. Alara swallowed. And Rhys, if the mate bond ever snaps awake for you, don't fight it. The video ended. Silence. Silence. Heavy. Glittering. Full of revelation. I turned to Rhys. He wasn't breathing. Not really. Just staring at the screen like he'd been gutted. "Rhys," I whispered. "She knew." He nodded once. Slow. Pained. "She knew you were my mate," he said hoarsely. "Before either of us understood." My pulse kicked. Too fast. Too hard. "Rhys," but he stepped closer. Not touching, but near enough that I felt the heat radiating off him. "Your firewolf," he murmured. "Your blood. Your wolf. Your scent. It all makes sense now." My throat tightened. I didn't ask for any of this. "I know," he said softly. "But it found you anyway." Nova babbled softly, reaching toward the necklace as if sensing its history. Rhys touched my arm. Warm. Steady. "Jada," he whispered. "This changes everything." "It doesn't change the fact that someone is still hunting us," I said. "No," he agreed. "Which means we must awaken your wolf fully before they strike again." My stomach dropped. My wolf. The one that had slept my whole life. The one sealed by a curse. "How do we do that?" He met my eyes. Gold. Molten. Resolute. "We go to Lyra," he said. "Tonight." "And then?" His voice deepened. "Then we break the curse. And then we break whoever put it on you." I had expected Rhys's sister to be intimidating. Maybe a little spooky. Maybe a little ethereal. You know, witch wolf chic. I was not expecting a 5'2" chaos goblin with purple hair streaks and combat boots who greeted us with, "Sup? So you're the cursed one." Lyra Thorn was every ounce of chaotic energy Rhys had warned me about. She lived in a cabin strung with moon charms, mismatched lanterns, and a very large sign on the door that said, "Absolutely no demonic entrees." Then under it, in smaller handwriting, "Unless they're cute." Nova giggled at her. Of course she did. Lyra leaned in close to inspect me, eyes bright, pupils shifting strangely, like she could see beneath the skin. She murmured. "Yep, Wolf's there, sleeping like a cranky grandma. Curse is layered but sloppy. Whoever did this wasn't an expert." "Oh, fantastic," I said, shifting Nova on my hip. "I was cursed by an amateur. Love that for me." Lyra beamed. "You're funny. Keep her, Rhys." I choked. Rhys exhaled sharply. "Lyra?" "What?" She shrugged. "I'm just saying, mate fate chose well." "Enough," he growled under his breath, eyes flicking toward me like he was embarrassed? Cute. Would revisit that later. Lyra clapped her hands. "All right, let's peel that curse open." "Peel?" I repeated. "Like, metaphorically, or am I about to lose skin?" She blinked. "Metaphorically, probably." "Probably?" "Relax," she said, waving a hand. "Curses aren't like horror movies. They're knotted energy signatures. And Jada's wolf, oof." She winced. "She's pissed." I felt a pulse in my chest, faint but hot, like something inside me grinding teeth. "Great," I muttered. "I have an angry internal roommate." Lyra dragged a heavy spellbook onto the table, flipping through pages so fast they blurred. "Firewolf lineage," she muttered. "Sealed before birth. Layered block on instinct and strength. Suppression tied to fear energy. Oh. What? Rhys demanded. Lyra looked up, eyes glowing faint gold. The curse wasn't meant to hurt her. It was meant to hide her. My breath hitched. Hide me from what? Lyra tilted her head. Something that hunts firewolves. Ice slid down my spine. Rhys's jaw clenched. Like the shadow thing. Lyra snapped. Exactly like the shadow thing. That was a shade-born construct, meant to track lineage magic. So, it was tracking Nova? I whispered. Nova, yes, Lyra said. But also, she pointed at me. You. I swallowed hard, hugging Nova closer. Okay, I breathed. Then how do we undo this hiding curse? Lyra grinned. We poke your wolf awake. Poke, I deadpanned. Amazing. I'm in the hands of professionals. She rolled her eyes, then placed her palms over mine. Jada Flynn, she said, voice going low and melodic. Your wolf can hear me. She just doesn't trust you yet. Wow, I muttered. That's rude. She's been asleep for decades, Lyra said. She's cranky. Rhys stepped closer. So close, his body heat coiled around me. Jada, he murmured. This might feel strange. Strange how? I asked. Before he could answer, Lyra squeezed my hands. A shockwave of heat shot through my palms. I gasped, knees buckling, as fire lit behind my ribs. Not burning, not pain, just awakening. A presence stirred. Slow, groggy, ancient. Like someone opening an eye after a long, dreamless sleep. Holy hell, I whispered, clutching my chest. What is that? That's your wolf, Lyra said softly. Say hi. My wolf doesn't feel friendly. Give her a minute. Rhys steadied me by the waist, hand warm and firm. You're doing well, he murmured. His voice slid down my spine like honey. Too warm, too intimate. Nova watched all of this with wide, fascinated eyes. Then, Lyra tapped my forehead. Everything exploded. Heat surged through my lungs. My heartbeat roared in my ears. My skin tightened like energy pulsed just beneath the surface. I cried out, collapsing, but Rhys caught me instantly, lowering me gently to the floor. My vision blurred with gold. My fingers shook. My wolf, was pacing inside my mind like an animal testing its cage. Lyra's voice echoed through the haze. Jada, breathe. Let her surface. I can't, I gasped. She's too strong. She's been suppressed her whole life, Lyra said. She's stretching. You must let her. I shook violently, clutching Rhys's shirt. It feels like fire. That's because she is fire, Lyra snapped. She's Firewolf. Let her burn the seal. The room flickered with orange light. Rhys grabbed my chin, forcing my gaze to his. His voice dropped to a growl full of command and comfort. Jada, he whispered. Look at me. You're safe. You're not alone. Let your wolf breathe. The heat surged again, a wave so intense I arched against him. Nova whimpered, but not in fear. In recognition, light exploded from my chest, white gold and burning. The air quaked. Lyra stumbled back, shielding her face. Rhys held me tight, teeth clenched as power roared through the room. Then, silence. My wolf's voice, ancient, warm, furious, whispered through me. Finally. I collapsed into Rhys's arms, trembling, breathless, alive in a way I'd never felt before. Lyra exhaled shakily. Well, congratulations. You're awake. Rhys held me like I was something sacred. How do you feel? He whispered. I lifted my head. My eyes glowed back at him, soft gold flames flickering in my irises. I feel, I breathed, like everything just changed. And he, the alpha who once hated me, looked at me like I was the beginning of a prophecy he'd waited his whole life to meet. Chapter 11. Waking up a dormant wolf sounds dramatic in theory, like I should have shifted instantly, howled at the ceiling, or demanded meat. Instead, I felt everything. My senses sharpened. Every heartbeat in the room echoed. Every flicker of candlelight pulsed. Nova's breathing sounded like a lullaby inside my bones. And Rhys? I could feel him without even looking. His presence wrapped around me like a second warmth, ancient, magnetic, dangerous in a way that felt good. My wolf stirred inside me, purring. Mate. I choked. No, absolutely not. I whispered internally. We're not doing that. My wolf flicked her metaphorical tail. Then stop smelling him. Well, tell him to stop smelling like safety and cinnamon. The wolf huffed. I blinked back into the real world to find Rhys watching me. Pupils blown, chest rising too fast, like my new aura physically affected him. Jada, he whispered, voice rough. Your eyes. Yeah, I croaked. They're doing a thing. A firewolf thing, Lyra corrected from across the room, still catching her breath. Girl, you lit up like a Christmas tree possessed by a dragon. Comforting, I muttered. Nova reached from her baby sling to tap my chin again, tiny fingers sparking gold where they touched my skin. Her glow harmonized with mine, soft, warm, connected. She sees your wolf now, Rhys murmured. No more sealed lineage. She could always feel her, Lyra said, just couldn't quite reach. My heart clenched. You mean she's been calling for me this whole time? Lyra nodded. Babies feel magic instinctively. Nova knew you were hers long before Rhys did. Rhys groaned. Lyra? What? She shrugged. It's true. He dragged a hand down his face. Not helpful. I sighed. Okay. Everyone settle. What does this mean for me, besides glowing like a fire hazard? Lyra hopped onto her kitchen counter, fiddling with a crystal. Well, your wolf is alive. She's not fully synced yet, but she's awake. That means you're going to have heightened senses, protective instincts, random bursts of magic, aggressive snacking, emotional honesty, which is the worst. I blinked. Wait, emotional honesty? Rhys stiffened. Lyra grinned. Yep. Firewolves can't lie to themselves. When feelings hit, they hit hard. I said. I would like to return this wolf and get the store credit. It's non-refundable. Of course it is. My wolf purred again, loudly, specifically when Rhys stepped closer. He crouched in front of me, one hand hovering near my knee, like he wasn't sure if touching me was allowed. How bad does it feel? He asked, voice low, careful. I swallowed hard. It's not bad, I whispered. It feels like heat, like something pulling me toward something. He swallowed too. Toward what? He asked. I stared at him, at the alpha who once hated me, at the man who held Nova like she was a miracle, at the wolf whose aura wrapped around mine without permission. You, I whispered. He went absolutely still, Lyra fell off the counter. "Holy crap!" she gasped. "We're doing this now?" Rhys didn't look away from me. "Jada," he murmured. "That's your wolf, not your rational mind. You don't have to say, 'I do,'" I said, heat rising in my cheeks. "Because she's part of me now, and I'm not lying." His breath shuddered out. He knelt fully, one knee to the floor, like the revelation physically humbled him. "You don't know what you're saying," he whispered hoarsely. "Yes," I said. "I do." Nova babbled in my lap, patting my chest. Lyra cleared her throat. "Okay, emotional bombshell time is great, but we need to focus. The shadow creature didn't just track Nova's magic. It was following the dormant firewolf line." "You mean me?" I said. "Yes," Lyra said. "And now that your wolf is active, they'll sense you even more strongly." "Fantastic," I muttered. "New me is like a magical GPS beacon." "Pretty much," she agreed. Rhys stood slowly, jaw tight, eyes burning. "We're tripling security," he said. "No one leaves the cottage alone. No one approaches Jada without my permission." Lyra snorted. "Overprotective and broody. Gross." He ignored her. Then he turned back to me, voice softening into something molten. "We'll train you," he said gently. "You'll learn to ground your magic, to shift eventually, to defend yourself." I blinked. Shift? As in fur? Eventually. And what if I turn into, like, a flaming squirrel? No such thing. "Okay, but you didn't sound confident." He huffed, rubbing his temples. Side note, I liked flustering him. My wolf liked it more. Lyra hopped down. "We're done for tonight. Jada needs rest. Wolf awakenings drain people for days." Rhys helped me stand, and I hated how good it felt, how natural, how fated. As we stepped into the night air, something pulsed inside me, a warmth spreading through my limbs. Not fear, not confusion. Strength. My wolf whispered, "We protect what's ours." I swallowed. "Rhys," I said quietly, "what if my wolf is right? What if I really am meant to be part of this?" He stopped walking, turned to me, gold eyes glowing. "You already are," he whispered. And something deep inside me, finally, fully believed him. Chapter 12. Awakening my wolf apparently came with side effects like enhanced senses, emotional honesty, thanks Lyra, a constant awareness of Rhys that felt like a warm magnetic pull. And the worst one, no more pretending I didn't want him. Which was stupid, and complicated, and dangerous. Also, unavoidable. But none of that mattered when the Pack Council summoned us. Rhys didn't tell me ahead of time. He just appeared in the doorway of my cottage that afternoon, jaw tight, aura tense. "We have to go," he said. "Where?" "Council Hall." Ah, the supernatural equivalent of meeting the in-laws, but with more claws and less emotional intelligence. "Why?" His eyes flicked to Nova, who was gnawing on a teething ring shaped like a tiny moon. "They want to discuss custody." The room went cold. I froze. "Custody? Of Nova? Of your own daughter?" "And of you," he said quietly. "They want answers." My stomach twisted into a painful knot. "They're suspicious of me," I whispered. "They don't understand you," he corrected. His tone softened. "But they will." "I don't belong there." "You're my mate," Rhys said, voice low. "And Nova's mother by bond. You belong exactly where I am. I had no time to emotionally process that sentence before he scooped Nova into his arms and guided me out the door with a gentle hand on my back. My newly awakened wolf purred. Of course she did. Traitor. The council hall looked like a courthouse had a baby with a medieval lodge. Stone archways, carved wooden doors, a chandelier made of antlers. Definitely a place built by people who enjoy dramatic lighting and intimidating mortals. Inside, 6 elders sat in a semicircle. 4 frowning, 1 confused, 1 asleep. Classic. Nova perked up. Her eyes glowed faintly. The second elder from the left screamed internally. Elder Marine, the chairwoman, old enough to remember rotary phones, cleared her throat. Alpha Rhys, she said. Explain how a human woman is now in possession of your heir. Rhys stepped forward, broad, unmoving, authoritative in a way that made the air stiffen. Jada Flynn saved my daughter's life, he said. She became her legal guardian by the Luna's own signature. And you just accepted this? Elder Marine lifted a brow. No, Rhys said. My wolf did. Gasps rippled across the room. Elder Thorn, the one with eyebrows like angry caterpillars, pointed a gnarled finger at me. You, human, step forward. My name is Jada, I said, and I'm not stepping anywhere unless someone tells me what this meeting actually is. A few elders flinched. 1 choked on air. Marine's jaw locked. Rhys exhaled slowly, like he was both proud and afraid of me. Elder Wyatt, the one who looked half asleep, suddenly perked up. I like her. Marine shot him a glare. No one asked you. Rhys stepped between me and the elders. A not-so-subtle message. You question her, you question me. Nova remains with Jada, he said firmly. Alara chose her. I accept her. The bond accepts her. And what of the threat? Marine demanded. The creature at the border, the Shadowborn. It wasn't after the child alone, Rhys said. His hand brushed mine, grounding me, then dropped before the elders noticed too much. It was after Jada, he continued. All 6 elders stared at me with varying degrees of alarm, judgment, and why is she in jeans? I shifted uneasily. Lyra stepped from the back row, startling everyone. Because, she said casually, Jada is a firewolf with a sealed lineage and a now-awakened wolf. Obviously, they want her. Duh. The elders erupted in rapid-fire arguments. A firewolf? Impossible. Those bloodlines are extinct. Do we have to redo the prophecy chart? I hated the prophecy chart. I raised my hand. Hi, yes, quick question. What's a firewolf, and why am I apparently one? No one answered. Too much chaos, too much alarm, too much judgment. Typical. Nova began fussing, stormy energy crackling around her tiny hands. The room stilled. Her aura rose like a spark, ready to explode. Lyra hissed. She's reacting to the stress. Rhys turned, expression sharpening. Jada. I know. I rushed to Nova, taking her into my arms, humming softly. Instantly, her glow softened. Her magic settled. Elders stared. Rhys stared. Rhys stared. She responds only to your wolf now. And I feeling tight between us. I kissed Nova's forehead. She giggled. The chandelier above us flickered like someone jiggled a magical light switch. Then, Elder Marine said the thing that sent my blood boiling. We propose temporary removal of the child from Jada's care until we determine the extent of her influence. Rhys growled. Sharp, furious, visceral. but I stepped forward first. "No," I said. The word carried heat, magic, a low hum of fire under my skin. Marine blinked. "No? You don't remove a child from her mother because you're afraid of what you don't understand," I said. My wolf pulsed in agreement. "And you don't punish a baby for having magic." "She's not your blood," Marine pushed. "She's my bond," I said, voice steady. "I held her when she was born. I held her when her mother died. I protect her because she is mine." Rhys froze. The elders froze. Even Lyra stopped breathing. Marine opened her mouth, but Rhys's voice thundered through the hall. "Jada speaks for me." The council fell silent. Then Elder Wyatt nodded. "Motion denied. The child stays." Rhys exhaled slowly, a tremor of relief. I did too. Nova babbled happily, patting my cheek, and the old truth settled deep in my bones. I might not have been born part of the pack, but I was meant to be here. And now, the pack would have to accept it. Chapter 13. The council session ended with a mixture of reluctant acceptance, mild existential crisis, and one elder loudly complaining about prophecy paperwork. Rhys walked at my side the whole way out of the hall, close enough that our arms brushed every few steps, which felt like my wolf was getting electrocuted by longing. Nova slept against my chest, blissfully unaware that she had almost been placed in supernatural baby jail. When we reached the courtyard, Rhys stopped abruptly. "Jada," he said quietly. I froze, because his tone, it wasn't alpha command, it wasn't frustration, it wasn't even protective instinct. It was raw. "What's wrong?" I asked softly. He stared down at Nova, then at me. His jaw worked like he didn't trust his own words. "I didn't like that," he admitted. "Like what?" "What they said." His voice thickened. "How close I came to losing her. Or you." Oh no. My wolf leaned forward with a smug little rumble. "Rhys," I whispered, stepping closer. His shoulders were rigid, tension wound through him like barbed wire. "I've failed once," he said. "I failed Alara. I failed to protect her. And now, you didn't fail," I cut in. "You didn't abandon her. Someone hunted her." He closed his eyes like the words hurt. "I should have known. I should have found her. I should have—" "That guilt is a lie," I said, louder this time. My wolf rose behind the words, steady and certain. He opened his eyes, gold flaring bright. "You're not responsible for the evil that chased her," I said. "And you're not responsible alone for protecting Nova. Or me." His breath hitched. I lifted my free hand and cupped his cheek. He didn't flinch. He leaned into it, like the contact was something he hadn't allowed himself in years. "Jada," he murmured, voice breaking. "I don't want you hurt. I don't want Nova hunted. I don't want this bond forced on you." "It's not forced," I whispered. He blinked, a soft, stunned sound leaving him. "My wolf chose you first," I added. "Even when I was human, even when I didn't know who I was. She still knew." He swallowed hard. "And you?" he asked quietly. "What do you choose, Jada?" "Truth time. Thanks, Lyra." I stepped close enough that our bodies almost touched. "I choose Nova," I said softly. "And I choose safety. And I choose not running from a bond that feels real, even if it's terrifying." His breath trembled. "Jada," he said, voice a broken prayer. Before either of us could fall into whatever this moment was becoming, Lyra slammed open the hall doors behind us. "Hey!" she yelled. "Sorry to interrupt the mating prelude, but we've got problems." Rhys growled so hard the stone floor practically vibrated. I sighed. "Of course we do." Lyra jogged over, purple hair bouncing, boots clomping, vibes chaotic as usual. "You remember how the Shadeborn creature last night wasn't fully destroyed?" she asked. "No," I said, because I shoved that memory into denial land. "Well," she said brightly, "turns out denial land has borders, and the thing is back." Rhys tensed. "Where?" Lyra's grin vanished. Her voice dropped. "Outer woods, close to the barrier. And this time, it wasn't alone." My stomach dropped. "More than one?" "3, she said. "Maybe 4. Hard to tell because they keep melting into each other like creepy shadow gel." Rhys cursed under his breath, something guttural and ancient that made the trees tremble. "Why now?" I asked. "Why so many?" Lyra glanced at Nova, then at me. "Because Jada's wolf is awake," she said. "And the firewolf magic broke the original tracking spell. Now they're desperate." "Desperate for what?" Rhys demanded. "To complete the ritual," Lyra said. "To take Nova and Jada to whoever summoned them." A cold shiver danced down my spine. "They're coming for us," I whispered. Lyra nodded grimly. "Oh yeah, full sprint, 0 chill." I hugged Nova tighter. She stirred, glowing faintly beneath her blanket, instinctively responding to danger. Rhys stepped in front of us, not touching me, but close enough that the air warmed with the force of his presence. "No one touches my family," he said. The words came out low, final, absolute. I didn't correct him. I couldn't, because for the first time, it felt true. Lyra's eyes brightened. "Then you need to complete the bond." My lungs stopped working. "What?" I squeaked. Rhys spun. "Lyra, no, listen," she said, hands up. "Mate bonds strengthen magical defenses. Combined auras can't be tracked as easily. A firewolf and an alpha? That bond could block Shadowborn magic altogether." "Lyra," I whispered, heart pounding. "Are you saying we have to mate bond? Now?" "Yes," she said simply. "Tonight." Rhys took a step back, breath rough, eyes conflicted and overwhelmed and starving all at once. "Jada," he said softly, "you don't have to." "Yes," Lyra interrupted impatiently. "She does. Or you do, but someone needs to do someone soon." "Lyra!" we both snapped. She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. You two are vibrating with tension. It's honestly hurting my aura." Rhys dragged a hand through his hair, muttering curses. I stood frozen. Mate bond tonight. As in, vows, magic, a bond that couldn't break, commitment on a supernatural scale. My heart hammered. Rhys saw it, stepped closer, voice gentle as moonlight. "Jada," he said, "you don't have to choose this because of danger." I met his gaze, burning gold, unwavering. "I'm choosing it," I whispered. "For Nova. For the pack. For my wolf. For him." He exhaled, a trembling sound that cracked something deep inside me. "Then," he said softly, reverently, "I am yours." And the world seemed to hold its breath. Because tonight, the bond would become real. Epilogue. If you told me a month ago that I'd end up as the Luna of a suburban wolf pack, bonded to a grumpy alpha who growls at malfunctioning Wi-Fi and goes soft whenever our toddler laughs, I would have recommended therapy. Intensive therapy. Possibly supervised. But here we are. And honestly, I've never been happier. Or more confused. Or more hydrated, thanks to Rhys forcing water on me every hour because fire wolves run hot. He just wants an excuse to hover. And I let him. The mate bond ceremony was small but powerful, held under the glowing line where pack territory touches human land. No blood ritual, no ancient chanting, just vows whispered beneath the moon while Nova babbled between us, playing with Rhys's ear like she owned him. Which she does. We both do. Life looks different now. The cottage is fuller, warmer. My senses are sharper. My wolf hums beneath my skin like a heartbeat. And Nova's magic is, well, she is chaos. Small, adorable, sparkly chaos. Yesterday she got upset because a bee flew past her. The bee didn't die, but the mailbox spontaneously combusted. Rhys replaced it with a fireproof one. He calls it baby-proofing. I call it necessary. And of course, the HOA has thoughts. Like this morning. I was kneeling in the front yard, adjusting one of my new solar lantern stakes. They keep glowing brighter around Nova, so I just accept it. When our elderly human neighbor, Mrs. Cranley, hobbled over with the HOA complaint clipboard. "Good morning, Jada dear," she said. "Your decorations are moving again." I nodded. Yep, they drift with the moon cycle. "Well," she sniffed, "I'm just not sure the cul-de-sac charter allows for floating lawn decor." I pointed to the werewolf 2 doors down, whose flaming wolf statue belched smoke 3 times an hour. "And that's allowed?" "Oh, that," Mrs. Cranley said sweetly. "It's therapeutic. He has anxiety." I stared. She stared. Nova, who was strapped to my chest in her baby wrap, raised her little hand and made the lanterns flicker pink. Mrs. Cranley gasped. "Your lights are color-changing now." I shrugged. "Solar innovation is wild." She tottered off, muttering something about modern technology and witchcraft but tasteful. As soon as she vanished around the hedge, Rhys stepped out of the cottage, holding a mug of coffee and wearing the soft gray Henley that makes my wolf roll on her metaphorical back like a happy cat. "You handled that well," he murmured, leaning down to kiss my temple. "I lied to a senior citizen," I replied. "Badly." He smirked. "She'll survive." "She thinks our decor floats on purpose." "Is it better that she thinks it floats accidentally?" "Not really." He took my free hand, squeezing gently. "You're doing well," he said. "Better than I ever imagined." His voice carried so much warmth, I almost melted into the grass. "Better than you imagined," I repeated with a grin. "Wow, such romance." He growled under his breath, the low, possessive kind that still made my stomach flip. Then he tugged me closer, so Nova was nestled between us. "You know what I meant," he said softly. "You're stronger, braver. You belong here." He wasn't talking about the cottage, or the pack, or the land. He meant him, us. This bond that had grown roots before we even realized it. I leaned into his chest. "I do belong here." Nova gurgled in agreement, then sneezed. A tiny spark of golden light puffed out of her nose. Rhys caught it in his hand like it was normal. "This kid is going to set the house on fire one day," I whispered. "I'll rebuild it," he said simply, "as long as you two are safe." My heart did that inconvenient swooping thing again. I cupped his cheek. "You're not alone in protecting her anymore. Or me. You don't have to carry everything." His expression softened, melted, into something I'd only ever seen in quiet moments between the two of us. Something vulnerable. Something fierce. Something like love. "She's ours," he said. "Both of you are." Nova squealed, probably because she liked the word ours, or because she sensed the mate bond pulsing warm and steady beneath my skin. We stood like that for a while, in our ridiculous, magical yard, swaying gently while sunlight filtered through the trees. Peaceful. Whole. Home. Later that afternoon, Mira, the only pack mom I actually liked, stopped by with cookies shaped like tiny wolf paws. "I made them for Nova," she said, beaming. "But she might set them on fire with her emotions." "That's okay," I said. "We have extras." She winked. "You're fitting in more than you think." I smiled, because I could feel it too. The pack no longer looked at me like an outsider. The elders respected me, grudgingly. The wolves in the border cottages nodded when I walked past. And Rhys? Rhys watched me like he still couldn't believe I was real. Like I was a fate he never expected, but was determined to keep. That night, when Nova finally fell asleep without lighting anything on fire, I stepped onto the porch with Rhys. The woods were calm, the moon glow soft, the world finally quiet. I leaned into him. "Do you ever think about what life was like before all this?" I asked. He shrugged. "Life before you wasn't life. It was waiting." "Smooth," I teased. "Did Lyra write that for you?" "I don't need her help to worship my mate." My wolf preened. I warmed all the way through. Nova let out a sleepy coo from inside. I kissed Rhys's jaw. "We're going to be okay." He nodded, pulling me closer. "We will," he said. "Because we choose each other. Every day." And as the moon climbed high above our little cottage, the one protected by magic, strengthened by love, and occasionally set on fire by a toddler, I felt it deeply. The alpha next door didn't hate me. He just hadn't found me yet. But he had now. And we were exactly where we were meant to be. If you'd fight fate for the ones you love, hit like, subscribe, and share this story with your pack. Rene's Romance Stories thanks you for listening.